think a lot of companies misunderstand about our role whenever there's a lot of candidates in the market. Okay. Yes, there's a lot that are applying. One, that takes even more time to screen. So there's an efficiency aspect of it. But then two, we have to dig deeper. Why were you let go? Were you let go because, I mean, it was a riff. Okay. I've been in HR. I know that a lot of times the first people we riff are the bottom 10%. I don't want to bring the bottom 10% over into another organization. But then also on the flip side of that, I've got to look at the bottom 10% of one organization, maybe the top 10%. It may have just been a bad match for the candidate. So it's like a rubric cube that we have to kind of tinker around with the candidate before we even get to the point where we can submit them to the client with some type of internal guarantee of like, all right, I've done my due diligence. I do agree that companies, it really depends. It depends on their culture. If they're afraid to fire or afraid to shoot the gun, they will have someone go through like 8 different processes. So in our world, we put them through if you include an online assessment, there's 4. All right. So recruiter, online assessment, technical interview, and then we have one of our one of our practice leaders interview the candidate. So they've already been pretty fully vetted, but we still, for the ones that we do that are staff augmentation, the client wants to interview them. And we had one not too long ago that they had 7 interviews in their process. And they kept going, where are the candidates? Where are the candidates? I said, can we talk about the 5 that have spent 40 years in your interview process before we start trying to bring more into, the organization? So I think that there's a lot of mistrust that recruiters, unfortunately, there's some out there that give us a bad name. They just put a cheek in the seat, not the right cheek. They just put a cheek in the seat. So I think that over time, as you establish credibility with your clients and you don't have those misfires, that one that you gave, I mean, that's a fluke. Nobody could have seen that coming. But, there are others where the red flags were there and the recruiter just pushes, just to get the fill. But I think that if you're able to establish the credibility, you can be seen and position yourself as a consultant and say, look, 7 interviews is too much. Can we trim that down? Can we double it up? Give them some solutions. So, I think there's still a lot of work to be done in that area. But I do think that AI is going to help with some of that because it's going to take some of the routine stuff, the paperwork and all the bogged down stuff that recruiters have to do. We can automate some of that and spend more time on this part, which is the value add, the human part, which I think I'm excited because it's going to allow us to actually get to why most of us got in there is we enjoy making the right fit at the right time in the right role. Just sometimes our processes and such just prohibit us from being able to do that in a very highly qualified way.